I'm Dr. Jessica Fush, and this is Farmers Market Fido. Welcome back. I've got a highly requested video for you today. This one is puppy food. Now, I don't have a puppy myself, but if you have a puppy and you want to start them off on a home-cooked diet, start them off right, either raw or cooked, I've got a recipe for you today. You will be able to download the recipe in the link below, and it's very, very, very critical. I want to stress this point right away in the beginning of this video. It is critical that you follow the recipe in this case. For older dogs, I believe that balanced and complete is trumped by variety and whole fresh food. But for puppies, I absolutely do not. You must follow the recipe to a T. If you're going to feed your puppy a home-cooked diet, you must make sure that their calcium and phosphorus balance is appropriate. You must make sure that they get all of the micronutrients that they need. And it's very difficult to do without a little bit of supplementation, which I will be adding into this recipe, just a little bit of supplementation, okay? And it's really, really important that you follow the recipe to a T, that you measure everything out with a food scale. So if you're ready to do it, if you're ready to learn about how to make home-cooked or raw puppy food, which this recipe can be done either way, and I will explain it in detail, and I will go over the recipe in detail. So stay all the way to the end. If you're liking these videos and you're learning a lot from me, please subscribe if you haven't already and click the like button. In this recipe, we will be using a little bit of chicken thigh. We'll be using lean grass-fed ground beef. This is the 93% lean. We will be using some beef liver and some beef heart. Beef heart provides iron and very, very importantly, taurine. Taurine has been all up in the news. I'm sure you've heard about the scandal with grain-free diets. It's not really a scandal. It's just that some dogs actually do need taurine. Most dogs can synthesize taurine from other amino acids. It's not supposed to be an essential amino acid for dogs, but we're finding out that in some cases it absolutely is. And the beef heart is a great source of taurine. We also have some pumpkin for the poops, and also vitamin A, but it's a plant source of vitamin A. So they're really gonna get most of their vitamin A from this beef liver. We have some wild blueberry for the phytochemical, cancer-fighting, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory properties, as well as fiber. We have some kale, organic kale, and this is really good for the phytochemical properties and fiber as well. Now, you don't want to use kale every single day for your dog because it could lead to bladder stones. And in order to help prevent that, you can also cook the kale. So some raw kale is okay. It's been proven to help fight cancer in dogs. There's some studies out there that are very compelling, but you don't want to be putting kale in the diet every single day. Kale and spinach could actually lead to bladder stones. So it's not something to completely avoid, like some people say, but it's also something that you don't want to just constantly use. Sardines are an excellent source of calcium, phosphorus, vitamin D, and a whole bunch of other wonderful omega-3s and micronutrients that you need. We have our cod liver oil, which is going to balance out our vitamin D for our dog. And we have iodized salt, which is our cheap and easy way to get in the iodine. We have, this is actually calcium. This is actually eggshell powder. But for your recipe, it's going to say bone meal powder. Now you need to buy the bone meal powder. Dogs that are younger than 50% of their adult age, okay, so you have a puppy who is less than 50% of its adult weight, then you need to be using a bone meal powder instead of the eggshell powder like I have. I don't actually own a puppy at the moment, so I'm going to pretend that this is bone meal powder, but in the recipe, it says bone meal powder, and that's very, very important for the appropriate calcium and phosphorus balance. A puppy that is, in this recipe here, I have pretended that my puppy is 10 pounds, okay? And that this puppy is less than 50% of its adult full-grown weight. So we're probably going to have a 50-pound dog, say. Let's say this was Maggie when she was 10 pounds. She needs to have her calcium and phosphorus balance be between 1.2 and 1.4. That means 1.2 to 1.4 calcium to phosphorus. That's a little bit different than an adult dog that needs more calcium. These things are very, very critical. This is a growing puppy. All of these micronutrient balances really need to hit the nail on the head. You have to be spot on. So that's why we're measuring everything out, and that's why we have our printout that proves that you're on the right track, right? Oh, it was upside down. Okay, so you will see here that it actually says now bone meal, and it's 6 grams. So I've measured out 6 grams of my eggshell powder, and I'm pretending that it's 6 grams of bone meal powder because I don't own bone meal powder because I don't have a puppy. But please make sure that you get the bone meal powder. I know I've said it like 10 times in a row now, but it's really important, so do it. Now I'm going to cut away some of the fat from this chicken thigh because that's not what we want out of our chicken thigh for our puppy, okay? And that is 3 ounces of chicken thigh, and the recipe only calls for 2 ounces. So I'm gonna cut away just a little bit more. All right, now we're good, we're at our 2 ounces. It's very important to practice safe food handling, so make sure you wash all of your utensils in between, and your hands. Next, we have our beef heart, and beef heart we have 2 ounces, beef liver we have 1 ounce. So make sure that you get it on ounces of your food scale. You tare it to make it 0. And I'm just going to be saving all of this. This is actually making 1 day's worth of food for a 10-pound puppy, okay? You could definitely go ahead and prepare multiple days in a row. Freeze what you don't need, and then keep the rest for another time. All right, here we go. 2 ounces of our beef heart. Beef livers are always a little bit slimy. But they are so nutritious. Beef liver is the best source of B vitamins. So we all should really be eating it. And I know in a previous video I said I was gonna try it and I still haven't done it. I've chickened out, completely chickened out. I will eventually, I promise. Sometimes I swear I feed my dog better than myself. I know I do. A lot of us do probably. Woo! All right, that's gonna be too much. Yeah. That's 2.8 ounces. We only need 1 ounce for this recipe. If you feed too much beef liver, you'll end up with too much copper. And potentially too much vitamin A and D and some other things as well, but mostly the copper. 1 ounce. All right, there we go. We have our 1 ounce of beef liver. It's a great source of iron as well. All right, we have our 3 meats there. I like to put in a variety of meats because that gives us a variety of amino acid sources and other micronutrients that you wouldn't really realize are in meat, and it depends. So factory farmed meats are not as healthy as grass-fed. So that's why I did go ahead and choose for this recipe 1 grass-fed pasture-raised meat source. I realized that it could be financially, like it could be too limiting financially. You might not be able to afford to do all grass-fed or pasture-raised. And if you can, please do it. It is gonna be leaner. I guess I'm gonna have to cut it open because not wanting to just open. Sorry, it's not doing it. So the beef here is going to be 4 ounces. Which this entire package is 16 ounces, so it's about 1/4 of the package. But I'm gonna measure it out because this is a puppy and it's very, very important to be accurate. Ah, it turned off. All right, tare. It's on 0, okay. 2.8 And I will be using the rest of this package for my dog because she's 50 pounds. She's not 10 pounds. I will actually be utilizing a lot of these ingredients for myself and my family as well as for my dog. But for the sake of this video, we have our 4 ounces of ground beef. Okay, 4 ounces of ground beef. We have 2 ounces of beef heart. We have 1 ounce of beef liver and 2 ounces of chicken thigh. So those are our meats. I'm gonna wash my hands again. And I'm just going to set all of this aside here so that I can put the entire recipe together. We still need to measure out some pumpkin and open up the sardines, and then we'll put it all together. In this case, you can actually, and the quinoa is in here, okay? I cooked it. The quinoa definitely has to be cooked, so it's warm. In this case, you actually could just feed all of this raw, or you can just put a little bit of water in the skillet and cook the meats together, just lightly brown the edges, just to kill any potential bacteria that could be on them from processing, from the packaging in the grocery store, okay? So we need pumpkin, 1 ounce of pumpkin. So let's just do this. Tear it here. And see how much is 1 ounce. Oop, that's a little too much. Perfect, okay. So, this recipe needs a little bit more iron, which I don't have. You need to add 10 milligrams of iron, and you need to add, the minimum for a 10-pound puppy is 25 milligrams of zinc. This caplet is 50 milligrams. So I'm just gonna cut it in half, all right? Then you have your 25 milligrams of zinc. Now you've covered your minimum amount of zinc. You'll actually be having a little bit more than that. There's not a maximum of zinc, but you could give them an upset stomach if you put way too much in there. There are some things that have maximums and there are some things that do not. Zinc is one of those things that really doesn't have a maximum. Copper, for example, does, all right? So I'm going to be providing for all of you at some point here very soon a beautiful ebook that lists the minimums and maximums, because I think that that's really important when you are doing home cooking. If you're educating yourself on home cooked diets and canine nutrition and you really want to do a good job, especially with puppies, you will want to know which things have a maximum, and then also what are the minimums? What are the minimums? So you at least make sure that you're getting those minimums covered, right? I want to point out here on this recipe that you have the custom amounts. These are the amounts that I'm actually using. These are what I'm measuring right here. All these other things you can kind of ignore. These are the measurements that I've put into the software. And then you want to be able to also pay attention to the amount that you're feeding. Where is that? Okay. So the total number of calories in the recipe is 674. The total number of calories that this dog, this imaginary puppy, needs is 652. We're pretty close. I'm gonna feed all of this. Okay, it's a little bit, it's like 20 calories more. They're growing, it should not be an issue, right? Now, if you have, let's say this is a 10-pound puppy. If you have a 20-pound puppy, you do not just double this recipe. That would be too much. It does not just double and double and double. So I made a video on how to calculate how many calories your dog needs each day. And I am going to try and link it here. Definitely it'll be in the show notes below, but hopefully you'll be able to click on it here so that if you want to go and watch that video and see exactly how many calories your puppy needs, and it does talk about the activity factors or growth factors. So a puppy who is less than 50% of their adult weight has a growth factor of 3. That means we're doing kilograms to the 0.75 times 70, and then you multiply that by 3. That is for a puppy who is less than 50% of their growth weight. their full grown weight. So you can go watch that video, and there's actually a PowerPoint presentation, and it will make a lot more sense when you can actually see it rather than me just talking about math on a video. Because I know, to the 0.75, what? We don't remember doing that. I realize we don't remember doing that. So it's okay. Go watch that video. It will definitely help you. All right, now we're gonna measure out our quinoa. Now 4 ounces of quinoa is a half of a cup. So I'm just going to scoop that. I had to clean up a little bit. I put all the meat into the sink, so I can clean that here in just a moment. All right, so I think we have all of our ingredients. We have our 4 ounces of beef, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this together in Maggie's bowl because she's gonna get a little puppy food right now. It's okay for one meal. She's gonna quite enjoy this. She's gonna get a little extra nutrition today, and that's okay because this is actually a small meal for her, and she'll love it. All right, so we have our 4 ounces of grass-fed, 12.7% fat beef. We have our 2 ounces of chicken thighs. I'm not going in order, I'm so sorry. The next thing on the list is actually 1 chicken egg. Now, eggs are highly nutritious. Remember, save the egg for the shell. Save the eggshell. Eggs are highly nutritious. Now, some people will talk about the raw egg binding biotin. With the liver in there and everything, I just do not worry about that, and I don't feed raw egg every single day by any means. All right, now we have our 2 ounces of beef heart. We have our 1 ounce of beef liver. We have our 4 ounces of quinoa, our 2 ounces of kale, our 1 ounce of wild blueberries. This is a 4.25 ounce package of sardines. So I'm gonna open that, pour out some of the water. You wanna make sure that it's packaged in water, and I'm going to give half of the package right now and save the other half for another time. Then we have our 1 ounce of pumpkin. We have, where did it go? Yeah. This right here is 5 grams or 1 teaspoon of iodized salt. I'm gonna sprinkle that around. Then we're gonna do a half of a teaspoon of the cod liver oil. 2.5 grams of cod liver oil is a half of a teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is 5 grams. Pretty much all oils are 1 gram, 1 teaspoon is 5 grams across the board. So we're gonna pour that on. Then we have our bone meal powder. Remember, 6 grams of bone meal powder. Sprinkle that on, and we don't know what we did with our half of a tablet of zinc, so we're just gonna get another one of those. And most dogs eat this. Now you could just grind this up in the coffee grinder like I normally do things. I'm pretty sure she's gonna eat it just like that. All right, so Maggie, it's your lucky day. You get raw puppy food. Where are you? Maggie, Maggie, Maggie. Maggie, honey, look what you get today. Oh yeah, it looks like she's going for the egg or the liver first. Maybe. I know you don't like it when I video you when you're eating. I'm sorry. I just want to show the people how much you like it. Ooh, she's liking that pumpkin. Oh yeah, beef heart. There we go. Now she's a big dog, so I didn't have to cut that up. But if you have a small puppy, you are gonna wanna make sure you cut everything up in puppy bite sizes. I hope all of you who have been asking me for puppy food are excited about this recipe. I wanna reiterate that you stick to the recipe. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you next time here on Farmers Market Fido. Thank you for being here.